Welcome to Calling the Shots with Cooper McLeod, your go-to sports podcast. I'm here today with Ashtynn, Gurnsey, and Alysa Robinson of the Southkam senior girls basketball team. And we are here to talk about your guys' experience this season. So just to start off with our first question, how would you describe your guys' bench warming experience in the 2023 provincials?
Pretty brutal, actually. But there was, a lot of us, so
it was fine. Yeah, I think that having, the other people there made it better because it wasn't, just you sitting on the bench. But, it was fun to cheer for our team.
Yeah. We had, a rage journal, so it was good.
It helped get our feelings out there.
Okay. What was the difference in the atmosphere between provincial and then, more local games?
I think that coming from, a girls' team, our local games weren't really supported. We didn't get many fans. But at provincials, it was kind of, there was a bunch of teams there and a bunch of supporters for everywhere. So no matter who you were, you had people supporting you and cheering for you. It was just a cheering environment.
I agree, yeah.
All right, and what are some interesting things that happened off the court during provincials?
It's kind of hard to. I kind of blocked it all out of my mind, so.
We watched some of the other games, which was kind of fun. It was a bunch of the time we were supposed to just rest in our hotel, so we didn't do much outside of the hotel, but we had a lot of team bonding opportunities.
Okay. What was the shift in the coach's attitude come provincials?
He was just kind of mean. That's the nicest way I can say it.
Oh yeah.
I think that at the start of the season we were expected to make provincials, of course, and then medal in provincials, and then as soon as we made it, I think our coaches were nervous because our first matchup was trickier than they were expecting it to be, but then after that they were back to you can medal, but that first game really threw them off.
I feel like there's just too much pressure on us to do such great things when it's literally just high school, in my opinion.
So it was kind of the more pressure there was, the more meaner they got?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Okay. If you could change one thing to make your provincial experience better, what would that be?
Well, I enjoyed my time not on the court because it was a positive experience. So I don't know, I would just change things like more team bonding activities. I don't know, I didn't I wouldn't change anything about being on the court or anything.
Yeah, kind of doing more things outside of the hotel room.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And I'm gonna say no comment.
Okay. So after an abysmal offensive performance leading to your guys' loss in the semifinals, finishing third place, did you guys view your tournament as a success or a failure?
I thought it was really successful because the last game especially, we kind of all played as a team and the coaches weren't on us for certain things. We still were expected to play really well, but it was more fun, and it wasn't so you need to do this, you need to win.
Yeah, okay. I agree. I think that a lot of people might see that as a failure, considering we got second last year, the juniors got second last year and those went up to senior. But I think that there's so many teams that go their whole high school career and never make it to provincials, and we've gone 3 times and 2 of the 3 times we medaled, right? So I think that's still a huge success no matter what.
So do you guys think if you got to play that team again, you think you guys could beat them in the semifinals?
Yeah.
SMU.
I think so,
that,
yes.
Yeah. I think that if we had given our starters some fresh legs once in a while, I think they are incredible basketball players, but everybody needs breaks and they can't always be on. And if we had thrown in some people just for a bit longer, just to give them that extra break, then they could have been more on. But I think we were too focused on that they were going to be the people to save us. Mm-hmm. I think that kind of
they needed a break.
So looking forward to next year. With the squad you guys have not having a lot of seniors, Ashtynn, how do you guys think you will perform in the provincials?
I think that a bunch, we had 3 out of the 5 starters being grade 11, so next year they will still be on the team. We also had our first one off the bench was a grade 10, so she'll be on the starting lineup. And I think that it's definitely going to be a loss not having Grace McDonald and Ashley Weir and all of our grade 12s that played a lot, especially Grace going off into TRU, she's a strong player, right? Ashley trying to get there, Francesca, all those players being such predominant leaders on the team. It's going to be definitely a switch, but I think that there are definitely some strong grade 10s moving on up to the team that'll give some fresh new looks and bring different things to the team. I personally do not believe that I will be playing next year, but I can say that without a doubt that they will play with their hearts and with grit and play amazingly just like they always do.
So like with the change in leadership, with all those grade 12s shipping out and graduating, how do you think those grade 11s will adjust with their new leadership roles?
I think fairly well. Kiana was co-captain with Ashley this year, and so I'm sure she'll be taking on main captain next year, and she's great. She understands the game so well, and she believes in every single player on that team, and she helps people achieve what she knows they can get to. So I think that she'll fill that role perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
All right, perfect. Now let's talk about your guys' regular season. I noticed you guys had a very large bench. Were there actually cuts made in tryouts, or did everyone just make it?
I don't think there was very many players that really even tried out, except for like we made a couple cuts, but I think they wanted to keep the bench pretty long so they could use us for practicing, because that's the only way to make the starters better is to use us to make them better.
There was a few cuts from exchange students, and I think that it was just they didn't understand the at most schools basketball isn't what it is here. We take basketball very seriously, and at any other school I'm sure they would have gotten they would have been taken, but we took the same people who had been playing basketball their whole high school careers kind of thing. And yeah, but we did keep a longer bench, which definitely helped in practices with getting new plays run through and just helping with have competition. That's how you make people better. So yeah, I agree with Liz.
Yeah. So after that early loss to Sahali, how did the tone shift?
Well, after our game, it was pretty brutal, the next practice, but I won't speak on that too much. But we really had to get our
act
together, and the coaches really pushed us extra since that till provincial season. So
I think that after that, like Liz said, we definitely learned a lot. I think that both the coaching staff and us as a team learned a lot. I think it was definitely both ways. And yeah.
Heading into that game, was there a mindset that you guys thought you were going to walk in there and win, or was it kind of a...
Personally, I was this is easy dubs. Yeah. But I know that a few of the other members were nervous, and I didn't understand why. I knew that they were Sahali is a strong team, and I'm not putting any of them down. They are great players. But I think that just based off of last year when the juniors played against Sahali, we sweeped them by 50 points, whereas this year we weren't prepared for what the seniors last year had faced against them. So I think that's why I went in there thinking that it would be an easy W. But
I feel the seniors on the team, the grade 12s, kind of were a little bit more nervous because we knew the grade 12s and the potential of the Sahali team, but we didn't know how the juniors played, so we were kind of wary about it.
So, and then about halfway through the game, I think that we were a bit more I would say calm, and we knew what we were up against, but we were also we knew what we had to get to beat them, and we weren't getting there because we were still nervous, but at the same time we knew what was to be expected of us.
Yes.
There was just too much pressure on us at that point, I think, and the nerves got to us, and the pressure because everyone was the coaches and all the team were getting really tense, so it's we didn't I feel we didn't enjoy the game, and that's I feel why we didn't do as well as we could have.
We didn't play having fun. We played under pressure, and I think that that's why we have to play the sport because we love the sport, not because we're scared of the sport.
Exactly.
So I think that was kind of the change in our mindset. We were we've been talking about Sahali to basically the whole season up to that game, and we were this is now our chance, and it was just too much. We had been given too much put on us.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So would you guys consider, chalk that game up as bad performance, or were you just outplayed by Sahali?
A little bit of both.
I agree. I don't want to, belittle Sahali because they did prepare. They prepared better than we prepared
did, yes.
for it. That's 100%. Why I think we were, not prepared, and we just weren't ready to play that game into the intensity it called for.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So kind of back on the topic of your guys' big bench, how do you guys think the team would have performed if more of those bench players were included into the rotation?
I feel it would have been fine because you don't have to keep them on for long, but just to give, like, the starters, like, enough chance to, like,
catch their breath.
Yeah.
Like, re-energize. I think that they wouldn't have taken so many players if they didn't see at least a little bit of, like, benefit from them, and they didn't really give the, like, players on the bench, like, the bottom 6 or 7, like, a chance to, like, give what they have to the team. Like, they, you know, like, we may not be the best goal scorers, but point scorers, but we do bring stuff to the team, and I think that we just didn't get an opportunity to give them.
Yeah, I feel like we just weren't given the chance to, like, prove that. But, like, in practices, they would work us to make us better players, but then wouldn't let us, like, show that in an actual game setting.
So going into Okanagan's ranked as the number 2 team in the Okanagan with Sahali hosting, did that give you guys a chip on your shoulder heading into the tournament? You guys think you should have been...
Chip meaning, like, attitude kind of thing?
Yeah, like, you guys felt like there's something to prove.
100%. I think that we knew because we were playing against teams in the coast and we were beating them and we were ranked. Like, we should have been ranked higher, but because we lost to Sahali, we got ranked below them. But, like, teams that they were losing in the coast, we were beating by 30. So, like, it just seems like an unfair comparison. And so we definitely took that to heart. And where it's like, we deserve to be hosting this tournament. Yeah. So let's beat them in their own gym.
Yeah.
So with having 4 whole berths to provincials in your guys' Okanagans, the mindset heading in to this tournament, were you guys kind of more relaxed knowing that you guys were probably going to make it regardless of how you did in, like, the finals or the semifinals?
I think that we knew we were going to get a lot of berths before that just because of how many turns we'd gone to the coast. Like, I think that if we hadn't have done so many, like, we wouldn't have gotten so many berths, but, like, we did very well in those tournaments. So, like, we got ourselves that opportunity to fall down a little bit, but I don't think that we allowed ourselves to. Like, our coaches still held us to such a high standard that, like, no matter what, like, we still wanted to get a good rank to get into provincials. Like, you know, we wanted to, like, not go in at the bottom and have to play the hardest teams first, right? So I think that, like, I was a bit more relaxed because I was like, we're going, like, let's just keep this going, like, I guess. But, like, I think that we were, like, as a team, as a whole, we were still held to a higher standard.
Yeah, I think there was still, like, a lot of pressure because, like, even though, like, we knew we could have could win those games, like, there was still a lot of pressure on us to, like, win them by so many, like, points or whatever.
Like, what was more, like, important to you guys, going out and, like, beating Sahali in that tournament or just making provincials itself?
I think beating Sahali because we knew we'd, like, make provincials because of how many berths we were given, but we wanted to beat Sahali because we knew that we could. You know, we wanted to, like, test our limits kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree.
So talking about some local crowds, what was your guys' favorite crowd you've played against or played for?
I'm gonna say Sahali. I think it was fun because, like,
it was
we
fun.
knew, like, we're close to the Sahali team and we're close to the Sahali school, and so, like, even though if they was, like, their fans, like, we still knew them, right? And, like, I think that our crowd got louder because they wanted to beat Sahali's crowd, so it was just, like, a fun experience. Like, I felt like the guys game.
The environment was, like, really energetic, and I think it brought up our playing as well, especially because we were in, like, their gym, and, like, all the SKSS students came to cheer us on. I thought it was a really good experience to, like, play through.
Yeah, speaking from personal experience playing at Valley View in our Okanagan finals, that crowd was insane. So I bet it felt nice to, like, because I noticed you guys didn't have a ton of crowds throughout the regular season, so it must have been nice to play in front of that crowd in the Okanagan finals.
It definitely was. It felt like being, like, it was not as intense as the boys' games usually are, but it was definitely better than most games, which is nice.
So your practices have a reputation for being pretty difficult, especially in comparison to the senior boys. As a participant in that, it was more laid back. But how would you describe your guys' preparation heading into those big games?
Brutal.
I thought it was really intense. Like, they would have us running and, like, pushing ourselves, like, how other teams would push us. So I thought, like, we were well prepared that way, but even though the practices were super brutal, like, it helped us in, like, those intense games.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that, like, they definitely helped prepare us in so many different ways, like, cardio-wise, but also skill-wise. Like, they didn't make us run lines. Like, sometimes we'd run as, like, a punishment for, like, losing in, like, a game or whatever, but, like, the majority of the practices were, like, channel defense, which is like up and down the floor, but like working on a scale, right? Or there's like Barbie Land, which is like working on a scale kind of thing, but it's like a lot of hardcore running. So yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely not for the faint of heart.
No.
No? So if there's one thing that you guys could change to make your season better, like as a whole, what would it be?
No comment.
Definitely like back in the hotel rooms, like I enjoyed all the team stuff that we did. So I kind of wish there was more of that.
So with all of the sweat, the tears, how was this season worth it in your guys' opinion?
I think that the team experience was great, and that the opportunities that were given to us were amazing. Like getting to go to provincials, like a lot of people would like kill to get to go to the provincials, and like to have gotten to go so many times is like amazing. But the actual basketball side of it and like everything that a lot of us on the team played multiple sports at the time, and it was a lot to manage how much basketball we had, and like people were working at the same time, and it's like people's like grad year, like the grade 12s, like they were planning a lot of stuff for that, and it's just like all of that together along with like 4 to 5 practices a week of hard, intense running, and like it takes a lot out of you. And I think that personally I don't see that like the means justified the ends, or whatever the saying is. Like I think that it was amazing, but it could have been a little less intense.
Yeah, like the team aspect, like 1,000% worth it. All the practices every day, like for me, not so much, but like if you ask each person on a team, I'm sure you'd get a different result.
Yeah, it's totally personal, but yeah.
So as a multi-sport athlete myself, I take pride in that. At you two being on the basketball team, I noticed you guys are both also teammates playing Frisbee. How's that season been going for you guys?
Spectacular.
It's wonderful.
Love Frisbee. Frisbee is life.
Yeah. It's good. The team is nice, and like noticing how like basketball season was very intense. Like Frisbee is like not so much so. So it's kind of like more laid back. It's a good like reset off of like the intense basketball season we just had.
100%. I also think I really like it because it's such a big team, and like it's always rotating, but like so like you're on the like sidelines, but you're cheering as a team. It's like everyone, and like Frisbee snacks, and like just like the whole like experience of Frisbee is like 10 out of 10.
It's
like
so different.
It is.
Basketball.
It's like I can't even like compare the two situations because they're just so different, right? But like yeah, it's a great reset from basketball.
It's really nice. Yeah.
So like at this point in the season, where are you guys at right now? So like Okanagan's or?
We have Okanagan's on Friday.
Okay.
And we actually just had a tournament in Kelowna where we beat the 3rd ranked team in the province, which was a huge win for us. And so I think that we're going into Okanagan's fairly confident, and I think we're going to have fun.
Yeah, I agree.
So how many berths do you guys get for provincials in this one? Is it
I'm not sure. I think it's like 1 or 2.
1 or 2?
I'm thinking 2.
Yeah.
You guys pretty confident you can get there?
I feel like yes.
Yeah, we're a pretty strong team.
Yeah.
We have a lot of depth.
So in comparison to basketball, do you guys say you have more fun playing Frisbee or playing basketball?
Definitely Frisbee.
Frisbee, all right.
I think that it's fun because even if you like make a mistake, it's 1 point, and then you get off and you can like reset and stuff like that, but you'll get those opportunities going. Like you just get rotated through. There's no necessarily like starters. Like obviously everyone knows who like the better players are, but we just rotate through and like play when it's your turn to play and have fun.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys so much for coming on the podcast. It was great to hear from you guys. That's going to wrap up the inaugural episode of Calling the Shots with Cooper McLeod. Thank you for listening, and have a great day.